Fire me up, Brady! Ah!
Let's go!
This guy's silky.
Welcome back, everybody, to Chicago Hockey Radio, the Friday edition of our program. Is this thing on? Can I hear myself? Yes, welcome back to the Friday edition of our program. With you for the next 2 hours, wherever you are watching and listening from, we are happy to have you along for the ride. Justin Lynch, Tassos Kirkos, and Raven Gasser sitting behind the wall here today, producing for us. Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final is in the books, and we are headed back to Edmonton, all knotted up at 2, courtesy of Leon Draisaitl's overtime winner. And the Edmonton Oilers are the first team in almost 100 years to come back from a 3-0 deficit in the Stanley Cup Final. Justin, how are we feeling today, brother?
Good. It's Friday, so that means it's a good day. But absolutely electric game last night. Definitely think we needed that after whatever that Monday game was. And yeah, good to see that series tied up. And I think the longer she goes, I think the better for all of us, right? I want to see 7 games out of this series. So tomorrow's game, Saturday, should be electric in Edmonton, and we will be covering that. We'll be reviewing the game last night and plenty of other NHL stuff to get into. Yeah, it should be a good one.
Yes, it should. Just like Justin said, we will be streaming the game tomorrow night. Yes. Game 6 will also be streaming next Tuesday. And if there is a Game 7, it will be 1 week from today, next Friday.
So yes.
Before, look, we have some other stuff. There's like a bunch of awards. We are going to talk about the game. I'm going to send Raven over some clips too. But I think it's important to start with this, at least just like the overall sentiment of the game. After the first period, I think the entire feeling amongst the hockey community was the Oilers were dead.
Yeah.
And, I'm not trying to be LeBron here, but part of me in the back of my head was like, this isn't going to go this way. Like, they're not going to go down without a fight. Yeah. And they showed a lot of resilience. We can have the Pickard discussion if you want, but I thought Edmonton really showed the mettle that they have. Mm-hmm. And we can get in. There was I don't know if you saw the Leon Draisaitl post game with Gene Principe, but they've been vocal about this. Do you remember weeks ago when we were doing the we can play defense clips?
Oh, sure, of course.
Yeah. Like, people are always like doubting this Oilers group, and
they keep proving people wrong
because they have this stigma, and I get it. Like the Oilers were bad. They played this kind of way, and I don't know. It's very important. People believe that they can't play defense and that they can't dig in and that they don't have depth and None of that is true.
They've been showing it. Yeah, they absolutely have been showing it. That was kind of their moment there, right? Down 3-0 on that period one there. It's like, show us what you got there. Are you for real? Are you for not for real? That was kind of their moment to step up, and they did. So, yeah, I'll admit, I was kind of one of those people when that third goal went, I'm like, oh, no, it's going to be tricky. It's had a hard time seeing Panthers, choke that kind of lead, but they did. But I think that was more due to the Oilers locking in. And I guess that was all thanks to Perry the Platypus. Corey Perry really got them to lock in their mission there, apparently. Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to talk about that first?
Yeah.
So I had heard it on 32 Thoughts this morning, and then I played a game with Justin as, can you guess what the corny NHL.com lead article headline is? And it is, "Thank you, Perry Much," which is just about the worst.
That's the best it could do.
Yeah. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins paraphrased the words of Corey Perry in the first intermission of, quote, "Wake up, look where we are in the position we're in." Defenseman Darnell Nurse said Perry told his teammates to, quote, "get to work," although, well, quote, "the tone might have been a little different."
So this was Corey Perry's right fucking now speech. This was at that moment. Okay, it wasn't McDavid this time. Very nice. Yeah, if 40-year-old Corey Perry tells you to lock in, you lock in. Yeah.
From Leon Draisaitl, quote, "We wanted to come out strong tonight, but they put us on our heels early, and we were kind of lollygagging around a little bit. Certainly not the time to lollygag around, especially after getting spanked in Game 3. Corey spoke up."
Yeah, I mean, again, that's a guy whose words carry weight. He's been around, right? He's been there, done that, and come up short quite a few times this time of year. I'm sure he doesn't want that to happen again. So clearly looked like a different team from that second period onward, and I'm sure the message-sending move, obviously, taking Skinner out, putting Pickard, I'm sure that made a difference too. And this Oilers team has not lost every game that Pickard started. They're 7-0, so something to be said for that. I mean, it's not Pickard's play that much better than Skinner. I mean, he's been slightly better, but the stats aren't that much better in his favor. But the team does appear to play better in front of him. I guess they have more confidence. So fair enough. Yeah, you'd probably stick with him from here, you'd think, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
There's zero way that you can
go back to Skinner. No. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no.
I'm trying to think of a way that you could.
Yeah.
And maybe if like Pickard gets shelled
This
next
happens
game,
to him, where they score 3 on him, fair enough. But methinks the worst of the Oilers, we've seen it. I think from this point forward, most of the games are going to be like the one last night, pretty damn close. Yeah.
Corey Perry's 9 goals are second on the Oilers behind Draisaitl's 11. He leads the team with 5 power play goals. And last night was the 235th playoff game of his NHL career, moving him past Claude Lemieux into 5th place in league history behind Chris Chelios, Nick Lidstrom, Patrick Waugh, and Mark Messier. Pretty good.
I think that's why he wants to stick around here, right? I think he really wants to break the all-time games played record for the playoffs. He can't be that far away from that at this point. Maybe
31 games away.
Yeah, so if he has another finals run next year, he's going to be back next year. I don't know if it's going to be for the Oilers, but wherever he goes next year, we'll keep padding those stats there. Yeah,
I'd imagine he stays in Edmonton.
He seems like he's a good fit there, right? Perfect fit. So I'm not really sure why you'd want to leave that, especially if they end up winning the cup. Like, I'm sure, man, the guy like that, he's made so much money in his career. I'm sure he's willing to take a discount and just keep doing his thing in the bottom 6 there, selling his role.
The only way I could see him leaving is if they win and maybe there's like a different location that wants to offer him.
Yeah. I mean, because if they lose again, though, do you want to stick with the team you've lost back-to-back finals? Yeah. I don't know. But if you win, that's not a situation you want to lose. I guess you could see it as unfinished business. That could be a play. Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
I don't think this team's going anywhere, this Oilers team, honestly. Like, even if they win or lose, I think they're going to be around. Yeah.
You and I had this discussion a couple of weeks ago.
But you don't seem convinced.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not, actually.
Yeah, really.
Like, I truly think
this is do or die? Yeah.
I just think that this team is going to look a little different next year. Like, I don't believe, and maybe now is the time that we have the Skinner Pickard, like the whole conversation about it.
Yeah.
Because there were talks of people saying that they should have started Pickard yesterday.
Yeah, that's what Lee was saying.
But I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, me too.
Because Stuart Skinner has been the guy for 2 seasons now, and he's gotten you to 2 straight finals. If you remember, there was a lot of noise around Edmonton trying to go get another goalie this year.
Yeah, there was. Stan Bowman shut it down. Like, no, we're not going to do that.
And they didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He put confidence in him, right? He was like, no, you're the guy.
So when you do that, you cannot start Calvin Pickard in yesterday's game.
You got to give him the nod. Yeah.
Otherwise, then you were wrong for not going to get
You're not
another
backing
goalie.
up your words. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Actions speak louder than words. So I wasn't surprised that they stuck with Skinner. And again, I know they went down 3-0 early. I wouldn't think it was due to him. I think the Oilers just didn't show up in that first period. And then I think that was kind of the message that they needed there to kind of, and then they changed their game from there, look better. But I don't know if necessarily because of Pickard they won the game last night. I think it's just they locked in after that first period. I think they needed to. They had to. Yeah, they couldn't afford another game like Game 3. Yeah.
They, I don't know how, and I don't know how you go back to Skinner now still, but, starting Pickard yesterday, and imagine if you lose, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, that's even almost more of a risk, honestly. So, it worked out quite fine in the end, didn't it?
It did.
So,
and the other thing, too, like Skinner, I know he led in 3. He was really good in that first period.
Honestly, it could have been more than 3-0, man. They were, the Panthers had nearly 20 shots in that first period, so I don't think that's really on Skinner. All the goals are pretty good, too. So, I think you just have to do something. When you're down that stage of the game, you got to do something. Yeah.
What do you think the Florida Panthers are thinking right now?
Well, I don't know if they're really. I don't think they're in a state of panic or anything. I don't think this Panthers team ever is. You had opportunity to take a 3-1 lead. Now it's 2-2. Much different situation than last year. So, but this team's been there, done that. They know what they got to do, right? So, but yeah, I do think you have to be asking questions like how they let that game get away from them. They were in a pretty good situation. They're a pretty good spot to really just put the hammer down and just didn't weren't quite able to finish the job there. So definitely some questions have to be answered there. But I'm sure that's a team that I wouldn't bet against them in terms of a bounce back. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wonder if part of them is going to look at how it ended.
Yeah, the one that got away.
Started.
Yeah,
Yes. Matthew Tkachuk had such an awesome game yesterday. Put 2 in the net. Almost he had 5 opportunities for a hat trick, and he didn't.
He's not playing like he's injured. That guy. No. He is, but it's hard to tell. Point per game, 20 points. He's always clutch this time of year, and they were just completely dominating that Oilers team after the first period. So it's like, what happened? What changed? Again, it's less that the Panthers kind of took their foot off the gas. I just think the Oilers locked in, but something could be said there too, right? Yeah.
And the other thing too is, you want to put your foot down when you got the opportunity.
Don't play if you're fool. Kill your prey. Like you think that if anything they learned their mistake from last year, right? So definitely I'm sure they'll be disappointed with that one. But the good news for the Panthers is yes, they Oilers have home ice from here, but you could argue that's a team that's even better on the road. So we'll see. That's a team that really has back-to-back brutal games. So
yeah, I like. Okay, we should actually, if we're going to continue the goalie conversation and all this, and Florida, and they have so much metal to them, is the word that I use. Like
sandpaper.
Yeah. But they're just so, and it goes from the top of the lineup to the bottom of the lineup. You have, I know you guys talked about it on the stream yesterday, like the whole Vanacek and Skinner thing, but you understand that that's the backup goalie going to try and get into the head of the starting goalie of the other team. And Vitek Vanacek just got there.
True.
You know what I mean? He hasn't been there 2 years. He just got there a couple months ago when they traded Spencer Knight here. And they needed a backup goalie. So that guy gets it. You know what I mean?
It's just getting the head. It's a mental game, especially goaltending. It's more mental, if anything.
Yeah. And I saw Wayne Gretzky on the panel before the game when they showed that for the first time, and he's like, "I've never seen that before."
Really?
Yeah.
Gretzky? Wow, that's a shocker right there. I'm surprised more goalies don't do that. I feel like if I was a goalie, that's what I'd be doing.
I feel like I don't know. Like that.
It's kind of a ballsy move, though, especially when you're not starting. You're the backup. I could see how you could take that the wrong way. What are you doing, dude? You're just sitting on the bench.
I have images of old junior hockey videos of warm up brawls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, you saying that could start something like that?
It could.
Yeah. What are you looking at me for?
Yeah. No. Especially if it's in the regular season and you're just bothering some guy and you got some I
think he's probably just so locked in. He probably hardly even noticed. Yeah. Fair point. Yeah. That's a true tactic, though. Yeah.
I don't worry about Florida per se.
No. But
the Oilers, I don't think we've seen the best game out of Connor McDavid yet.
That's the thing. He hasn't even scored a goal yet in these finals. He does have 6 assists, but he hasn't even really got going yet through his style. So Draisaitl has, and once he's playing like that, that's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to lock that down.
And I know Barkov hasn't been
Yeah, he hasn't been
Sasha
I'd say,
Barkov.
his best either, right? Yeah, but
But he is shutting down McDavid.
He is. He's doing his job there. I think that's probably it, right? I think he's probably more focused on, especially if you're a guy like him. It's like you have 8 other guys in this offense who could produce. So it's like I think my job is to shut down their best player, McDavid. If you could shut McDavid down, you got a pretty good chance of winning. So I don't really think he looks at his job as producing in these finals. I think he's been doing good from that standpoint. Yeah.
Oh, I agree. Tomorrow should be a very good one.
I can't wait. I'm much more pumped for this game being 2-2 than we probably would have been if it was 3-1. I guess that would be an elimination game for the Cup, but I'm just glad. I think that was a better outcome last night for this series, NHL in general. You want this one to go ideally 7 games just like last year, and I think it will. Yeah.
And I put this in the chat of the stream last night too, but NHL or teams leading 3-0 after the first period of the Stanley Cup final were 37-0 all time, and now they are 37-1.
That's crazy. I mean, 3 goals, because like that's not that much of a lead. 3 goals. I mean, that's a crazy stat.
At the end of the first.
After the first, especially, you got 2 more periods of response, and really, that's a wild stat. So, if any team could do it, it's the Oilers. They've been known to be the comeback kings. How many times have they shown in these playoffs? So, I guess we shouldn't be shocked, but hindsight heralds. I think, I didn't think it was coming.
Well, so I was thinking about this actually, because you're like, oh, that I'm surprised it has happened before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Remember, when did Perry tie the game? It was game 2, right?
Yeah, it was like with in 18 seconds left. Yeah, to force OT. Yeah.
Maybe somebody can double check. Maybe Raven could double check me on this if I'm wrong. I had heard that was one of, if not the latest game time goal in Stanley Cup final history.
And then the Reinhart one happens last night. That's 19 seconds, so 1 second off. So is that one too?
But do you know what I'm saying? Like you're like, oh, that's the latest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
18 seconds. Like nobody scored to tie a game later than that. But if you think about it, there haven't been that many Stanley Cup final games in hockey history. You know what I'm saying? Like how many Stanley Cup final games have there been?
I mean, but like if it's at least 4, then max of 7. Maybe it wasn't always like that, but I think for a long time it has been like that. So
we're talking like
NHL's been around for 110 years, give or take. So I think 1917. So what is that? 110 times?
We're gonna look this up.
Yeah, it's actually an interesting point. Yeah,
Stanley Cup final games.
Yeah. In
history. It was great podcasting. Sorry,
I know. There's a lot of crazy stats though in these finals. Like,
but I feel like that's why you get some of the crazy ones.
Yeah,
you know.
But there's been a lot in this one. Like, it's not just that. I believe it's only the 5th time that the first 3 of 4 Stanley Cup final games have gone to overtime. Only 5 times that's happened. 110 plus years, that's insane. There's a reason been hyping up his finals so far. I mean, outside of Game 3, every game's been absolute cinema, as I like to say. Yeah.
There is no. There's no information as far as how many Stanley Cup final games have ever been played.
Yeah.
Raven, I will love you forever.
Raven, that's your job.
If you somehow find that over the next hour and a half.
Say it one more time just so I can get it 100%.
How many Stanley Cup final games have ever been played?
Yeah, and then don't forget that
just
before.
Stanley Cup final, not first, second, or third round.
Yeah, no, just the Cup.
Just the Cup final.
That's got to be out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Surely. Yeah, no, that's got to be available.
But it's probably like
wait a minute, though. But does that going to include because the Stanley Cup's been around since 1893, and the NHL didn't start till 1917.
No,
so is that going to include?
We have to have an arbitrary
Is it like the entire history of the Stanley Cup or just NHL?
No, I would say NHL.
Yeah, because there's NHA before that, and like all those other leagues. Yeah.
The number that I'm seeing is 196 games.
196.
That's 196 games.
I saw that stat. I saw that stat.
Okay,
let me keep cooking.
So that's the only time it's happened. 196 games.
No. That stat was there have been 196 game 7s. He read the stat wrong.
Right, wrong. Okay.
He's still looking. Maybe Raven will be able to find that.
He'll find it.
But yeah, I wanted to bring that up as a point that I thought was kind of interesting. Like we see, like I was shocked that 18 seconds was the latest game time goal we've ever had.
Yeah, because there's still quite a bit of time to work with there. 17 seconds after, 17 seconds, 2013 reference. But yeah, that is pretty wild. And also like the amount of just comeback wins Warriors have had in these playoffs. What is that, like 8 now or something like that? It's crazy.
Is it really?
Yeah, like half their wins have been like comebacks.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure, if not more than that. So it's just a team that breaks every rule. That's what makes them so fun.
So I will say this about Draisaitl. And he said that when Gene Principe interviewed him after the game for Hockey Night, he said they asked him what happened on the winning goal, and he's like, it's pretty obvious. Like it just went off the guy's leg, lucky bounce. Like I'm going to take it, right?
Yeah.
Up until that moment, I hadn't noticed Leon a lot.
in that game?
Yes.
I think he had 2 points, did he not?
Did he?
I think he had 2 assists.
If he did, it was the
They were
quietest.
quiet 2 assists. I think it was a 3-point game.
Really quiet. And, I noticed Connor Moore, and I don't know. I think maybe one of you guys said it on the broadcast yesterday. He might be playing injured.
I will say,
He did have 2 assists. You're right.
yeah, I would say it was more. I would actually say the opposite. I think it was actually more McDavid that I didn't really notice last night. I think he had 1 assist. The last couple of games he's been quieter. Yeah, I mean, look, he's human, right? Maybe he's saving it for the later games of his final, but he might be playing injured. I don't know, but I'm sure he's got something left. I'm sure he's got something already up his sleeves there. He's gonna have his moment. He's gonna have his legacy moment. You would think at some point in the series, it's gonna come through him. You would think. It's gonna have to at some point. But I would say, I think after last night, I mean, what is that? 4 overtime goals for Leon Draisaitl in these playoffs so far. I believe that's a record. I think Conn Smythe. Got to be leaned towards him right now. I mean, some people would say McDavid, but I think they have the same amount of points, and Draisaitl has 11 goals. McDavid has 6. I mean, I'd probably give him. McDavid won it last year, obviously. So obviously, we'll see what happens the rest of the series. If McDavid has the series-winning goal or something, I'm sure they'll give it to him again. But I mean, if it ended today, I'd probably give the Draisaitl have McDavid. That might just be me. I don't know. He just had more of those big-time moments where he stepped up. He's been super clutch of these. Well, like Kaner, yeah. A lot of big goals.
Elliot Friedman brought this up today on 32. If the Oilers win the Stanley Cup and Calvin Pickard is 9-0, you give him any votes?
Well, yeah, that's a team stat. I know Pickard's 7-0, but he has an 896 save percentage, I think. And I think Skinner has an 891. He hasn't been that much better. The team's been better when Pickard's been in net. So maybe there's something to be said there, or there's a reason for that. They have more confidence of him. I don't know, but no, I think it's going to be one of McDry, and Bouchard probably get votes ahead of or somebody like that, or Nuge, or hell, even Corey Perry probably get more votes than Calvin Pickard. But he might be. I don't know. He might be up there though. But I mean, he's also played 9 games. So I mean, how much votes is a guy who hasn't even played more games? Hasn't even been the starter going to get? Yeah.
No. I just they brought it up, and I laughed when I heard it, and I thought.
That's funny. He might get he might get a 1 or 2. Yeah.
Trust me, dude. Yeah. We're gonna get into some of the awards and stuff.
If he doesn't lose a game, if the Oilers go on to win the next 2 games at Pickard and net, and he ends 9-0, like you said, he might get some votes. Yeah.
A third place.
He's not gonna win it, but he might get a couple thirds in there for kicks. Because after McDry, who are you really gonna what are you gonna give Bouchard your vote? Who are you gonna vote for? It's those 2. So yeah, fair enough. Yeah. A couple thirds. Yeah.
The one last thing I want to say, the Edmonton power play didn't look particularly great last night.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice to see a game that was a little less. I think there were 8 calls, 4 power plays apiece. They were 1 for 4.
I know they got the Nuge goal.
Yeah, Panthers were 2 for 4 actually. Yeah, so they were better. It was all right. I do think they're going to need a bit more from the power play if they're going to come out on top in this series. That's probably going to be a big difference maker. So, but you would think there's going to be less calls to this point forward. That tends to happen as series develops, right? Get them out of the way early and more even strength play from here on out. Yeah.
So, I know you say that. And you're probably right.
It hasn't happened so far.
Yes, that is what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Lee keeps betting the under.
It hasn't happened yet. 4 games in now.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just the way it is. Yeah, I don't know. Yep. I mean, when the Oilers and Panthers play each other, I guess we shouldn't be shocked, right? So, I mean, the Oilers are probably the most high-flying, team in hockey when it comes to that standpoint, offensive team. And then the Panthers are just chaos. They breed chaos. So when you put a, unstoppable force against an immovable object, you're probably going to get a lot of overs. Yeah. A lot of goals. I guess we should have seen that coming. Yeah, I don't know. But I've kind of been along the same veins as him from that standpoint. I'm surprised I haven't seen an under yet. Maybe we won't see one. Has that ever happened? Have we ever had a cup final that's never hit an under? I'd be willing to bet that's never happened before. That might be a hard one to look up, but Raven has enough to do over there. Yeah.
Raven.
I'm currently going through Wikipedia and adding all of the...
Are you actually?
Yeah.
Adding all the games? I mean, it won't take... I mean,
I'm at 2009 right now, so...
You're at...
Oh boy,
that's the year 2009.
That's gonna take him all. That's gonna take him the whole hour to figure out.
Are you starting back to front? Are you starting recent?
No, I started from 1927.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he's really cooking. Okay,
so you're almost there. You'll be there before we hit break.
Okay, good. I thought he was going 2024 to 1917. It's gonna take him forever to get there.
He's like, I'm in 2009.
Is he gonna get there by the end of the show? The mathematician over there. W's for Raven in the chat. He's I guess he's really a big math guy. There you go. Very nice.
iPhone calculator.
The calculator going very nice. How about I guess we had to address the elephant in the room here. How about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce at the game last night?
Yeah, what'd you make of that?
Interesting. I wonder if they went on their own accord or if they were, handed a nice little check by the NHL to show up there.
I don't know about that because the Kelseys are into hockey.
They're actually pretty big hockey people. I feel like Jason more, Travis too. You see him wearing Hawks hats sometimes on his little pod he does there.
On his little pod.
Yeah, his little pod he does there of his brother. It's pretty well known. Yeah. No, they're cool. I mean, more eyeballs. I'm not going to complain. Yeah, but I think the broadcast may be one too many times. Probably. I think we get it.
All right. I have a final number.
Oh, here we go.
How many Stanley Cup final games have been played in the history of the National Hockey League? Jeez.
514 Stanley Cup final games have been played.
So more than I was going to say like 350. So more
Really?
than, yeah.
Wow, that's not what I would have guessed.
Did you think it was going to be like in the thousands?
Honestly, that's probably more than I would have thought, actually. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So that's never happened in 514. That's crazy.
That's what crazy. I'm saying. So it's like, how many games are played in an NHL season? Like 10,000 games,
Yeah, I see your point. Yeah.
So we're working with like really tiny sample sizes that have been spread out over 100 years.
It's 3 goals though. Like, can you tell me that's the first time it's happened in 514 games? Like, that's crazy.
You're telling me nobody's tied a game with 5 seconds left in the Cup final before?
Yeah. Like
what?
There's still 17 seconds to work with after 18. I don't know. That's wild to me. Yeah. There we go. I guess this final is really going to go down as the Stanley Cup final of all time. It's going to be up there. I think we were talking about this, but like if this one goes 7, like, and we've had all the moments we've had so far in the overtimes and how close the games have been outside of game 3, like this one has got to be up there. Go down to be one of the best Stanley Cup finals of all time. Maybe that's a recency take, but at least in our lifetime, it's got to be up there.
I think I've been hearing a lot of that. Like, it's not just in the walls of our office here and in the studio. Yeah. It is... it's a take I've heard a lot of people being, this is the best final.
I'm not saying it's up there. It's in the conversation. I'm not saying it's like, oh yeah, this is the best, but it's got to be in the conversation.
I think it's all about, for me, like the feeling at the moment. You know what I mean? Like, and it's sometimes hard to remember how you felt watching a different thing maybe 5, 7, 8 years ago. I'm not saying, like, obviously this series is way better than like any of the Pittsburgh ones that they played when they went back to back, or
the Tampa ones were kind of blah because that was like the COVID bubbles and all that. Yeah.
But there were other like good series. Like
like that Blues Bruins one was really good. I mean, I didn't like either of those teams. That was a great final. 2018 was really only great because Ovi winning in the Caps, but like the actual final itself was kind of blah. The Pens 09 final was great. The 16-17 was meh, but 08-09 were both bangers, and obviously all 3 of the Hawks ones were bangers, right? 2011 Bruins Canucks was a banger.
Like even some of those conference final series that the Hawks played in were like better than some Stanley Cup finals.
Well, I think was I saying like play? I think I was just saying Stanley Cup.
You were saying Stanley Cup.
I do think there've been better playoff. That's the thing. Actually, that's a funny thing too. Is I do feel like there's been a lot of better playoff series that haven't necessarily happened in the Cup.
Yeah.
I feel like the Western Conference Final could argue sometimes it clears. Not this year. Definitely not this year. But in the past, I would say sometimes that's breed the best hockey. Honestly, is the conference finals.
Well, I think like we're sometimes so soon to forget that like Dallas Colorado was a first round matchup this year.
And that's has there been a series that's cleared that in these playoffs? I don't think so.
I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I think that's still first for me right now. Maybe that Panthers-Toronto series number 2, and right now this one's probably number 3. Could surpass those two depending on how far it goes. But at least we're destined for 6 at least. Hopefully 7. Yeah.
I do have a fun stat because you guys were asking about has the under never hit in the finals. I'm not finding anything on that.
Oh, yeah.
I have not. No. That's a little hard one.
Yeah.
But I have seen that the last 4 years now have had significant goal totals higher than average over the history. So just based on those numbers, it's not smart to be hitting the under.
Yeah, like hitting the under in the Stanley Cup playoffs was a really good sports betting play, I feel like, in 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like that was a really awesome thing that not many people knew about 10 years ago, where I don't know.
The hockey's different now. Different now. It's more offensive, right? It was more defensive in the 2010s, as we know from experience. So 2020s has been a different game, more high flying, more offense. So
and it's also like think of the teams in the What did you really thought Edmonton and Florida were ever going to be
blowing out
under?
everybody. They've been blowing out everybody. Yeah.
You got Stuart Skinner in net. Like, what are we talking about? Like,
and they got the 2 best players in hockey. Like, yeah, I think they're going to get their cookies.
Like, if this were the LA Kings against the Carolina Hurricanes in the Cup
that's
final,
that's different.
I'd be smacking the under all day long.
I think that the fact is everybody looked at these 2 teams and thought they're so evenly matched that even though they've been producing a lot, both of them have been producing a lot up to this point, that might fizzle out, but has not been the case. They've been going band for band.
Yeah, they go blow. Yes, they go goal for goal, blow for blow, whatever you want to call it. Yeah,
so, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, any more thoughts on Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift?
Absolutely not. I got no more thoughts on them. We'll see if they are there for the rest of the final. I did see a pretty funny post. Like Wayne Gretzky was up there with them. I think the post was like Wayne Gretzky third wheeling Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
I saw that picture and like with a different meme on it. It was like meeting of the minds.
Yeah, I never would have imagined that. I would love to be a fly in that suite, in that conversation, see what Gretzky was saying with those guys. I'm sure it was interesting. Yeah.
They weren't even they weren't in a box either. They were just like.
Really? They looked like they were. Yeah. Yeah. It was a little sweet. Yeah.
It was a little.
Yeah. It was like a little like section. Like, sometimes they have those like seats, like kind of in the box area. That might have been it. Yeah. Yeah. That might have been it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you want to do? Let's actually send it over to the Mount Rushmore. Let's do that.
Okay.
So yesterday we did the Mount Rushmore of what if they stayed healthy, guys.
Ooh.
And that was actually kind of a fun one. Looking back, none of us remembered what teams we
I
picked.
literally couldn't remember. Yeah. I think I remember now. I'm pretty sure I know which one.
Okay. So everybody enjoy the Mount Rushmore. We only have, after this one, there's only 6 left. 7 if a tiebreaker is needed. We did.
Oh, the ones we just recorded?
Yes.
So these are, okay.
So this was the last one from the last batch. And then Monday we'll start the ones that we recorded this week. So including today, there are 7 Mount Rushmores left. After today, there are only 6. So. And it's down to the wire. Like the standings are all very tight, and it should be a good one.
I'm excited to actually watch this one and just remember which team I picked for sure.
All right. We'll be back with more Chicago Hockey Radio on the other side. Enjoy the Mount Rushmore. Cut away from the show. Here we are. It is the Mount Rushmore. This is probably one of the ones I'm most excited about. This is the Mount Rushmore of what if they stayed healthy guys in hockey. All time. Active, whatever you want to do, but guys that whose careers were marred by injuries. And with the first overall pick, it is the guy you cannot see, Raven Gasser.
Oh my God, I have so much pressure on this one.
We will not slander you with whatever you pick.
I'm taking Mario Lemieux.
I mean,
Yeah.
you
It's
probably got the best one.
He could have been a Hall of Famer if he didn't get injured. He could have been one of the best players of all time. Oh, gosh.
Bobby Orr, number 2.
Yeah, could have been the best defenseman ever.
Yeah. Justin, do you?
Well, I'll stick with this theme of picking guys who have had great careers but could have been better.
Wait. Hold on. I screwed it up. I screwed up the order. It's supposed to go Lee, then Justin.
Okay. Well, I'll go Mike Bossy.
Well, we're just going to keep going with Hall of Famers here. So it could be Sidney Crosby. His prime was taken away from him because of injuries. And for my next pick, because I'm back-to-back, I'll go with Eric Lindros. Yeah.
I'll go Paul Kariya.
Yeah. He had some rough injuries like that concussion he had. Who was it that hit him that? Oh, that was a brutal one. Yeah. Tough to watch.
There's so many good ones. I'm going to go with somebody I've already picked in another draft, Peter Forsberg.
Yeah, he had a lot of injuries.
Raven, you have 2 picks.
With my second pick, I'm going to take Pavel Bure. And with my third pick, let's do Tuomo Ruutu.
Tuomo Ruutu?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting pick.
Great pick.
Give me.
Good Britney Spears song.
Give me.
You were singing. He was singing.
I was singing a different song.
Oh, I think of a different one.
Give me your love after midnight.
Cam Neely.
Give me all your lovin'. Not you guys.
Lee?
Has Pavel Bure been taken?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been, unfortunately.
Good. I'll say Oscar Clefbaum.
Actually, that's a decent
Really?
one.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of Flames fans were not happy about Oilers, Alberta. Yeah. Would have been a good part of that decor. Could use a guy like that. Surprised he hasn't been taken yet, actually. If he didn't go to the World Juniors in 2020, if that wrist injury, could be Kirby Doc, a guy who's fragile and always getting hurt. If he could just stay healthy, what he could be. I guess we'll never know. He's a young player. He could still figure it out. But at this stage, it seems a little... That's not going to happen for him, unfortunately. Oh, yeah, I guess I'm picking again, right? Yeah. I don't even know for my last one. I feel like this is a guy who untapped potential for, again, similar reasons. It feels like he can never stay healthy. Is that other issues?
Patrick Laine?
What made you think that?
I don't know.
Yeah. Scored 40 goals his sophomore season, but really hasn't matched the year since then. He's had some point per game years, but never can play a full 82. Something's always going wrong. Just can't be a good fit.
And Fortnite.
And Fortnite. That was the unsaid thing. It was Fortnite. Just too much time with Fortnite. I remember at the time there were people were saying he could hang with Matthews, and yeah, no. Maybe in the playoffs he could, but no.
For my last pick, I'm going to go someone current. I'm going to say Josh Norris.
Yeah. Another guy who's can't stay healthy. Yeah. But at least he's not gambling like his teammates. Yeah.
That's my GOAT. Don't talk about my GOAT like that.
There's some names out here. I'm going to go Nolan Patrick.
Number 2 overall pick. Only had a couple of years in the NHL, concussions, Flyers, then the Vegas.
Really?
No, that's a fair one. Yeah,
No,
he had a lot of hype coming in, I remember.
I just have to toss in a really to Tassos every once in a while because he does it after every...
Because I'll make a pick where, Lee doesn't know what it is. So,
Yeah. You gotta explain it.
You have to, it's like the joke.
It's more so I'll make an obvious good pick, and Tassos will just not be able to wrap his mind around making a good pick, and so he'll go, really? And I'll be
what are you thinking?
Yep, that guy.
Lee will pick a guy playing in the NHL and then question the guy who retired at 21 because of the number 2 overall pick from 2019 that retired.
I'll pick a guy that more people know than you, and then you'll be like, wait, why am I not doing as well here? It doesn't make sense to me.
I think Chat would know who Nolan Patrick is.
Yeah, Chat again.
Chat is all-knowing being. Chat knows more than all of us combined.
All right, Raven, last pick.
Mark Savard.
Good pick.
Yeah,
Great
another
pick.
guy. It's always concussions. Yeah, some brutal hits there. Yeah, head injury. Yeah.
That is one of the craziest injuries I've ever seen. The Mark Savard
that one.
stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Lee, Mark Savard used to play in...
He's got to laugh at his own joke.
I do. All right, that is it.
You're supposed to laugh there, Chat. Remember.
All right, everybody. That is the end of this one. We're done recording all 10. We'll have to sit down and do this again in the middle of June to record the final 6. And then that is it for the Mount Rushmore endeavor here at Chicago Hockey Radio. Hopefully, we can get some creativity going with some new segments. But hope everybody has enjoyed this so far. And let's send it back to the show now. Thank you for doing this with us. All right, well, I lost my glasses in between while we were on that few-minute break, but I did update the scoreboard, and for those wondering what the leaderboard looks like at Mount Rushmore here at CHR, yours truly, currently in the lead, 68
you're still
points.
winning? Damn it.
Yes, even a third-place finish in that one was enough to keep me in the leaderboard right now,
How far behind am I?
1 point.
Oh,
1 point.
well, we're right there. We're nip and tuck.
68
Oh, boy.
points, 67 points. Raven and Tim, you got 65.
Correct. 65. Lee is 59.
Oh,
Lee is
yikes.
59. So.
Get ready to learn a live stream, buddy. But a big win for yours truly. I'm like Ricky Bobby. I either finish first or I finish last. There's no second, third place finishes for me. It's either first or nothing. So big W for me. Hopefully I could still come away with number one here. Yeah, we'll see. Should be a battle to the finish line.
Yes, that it should.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah, and honestly, I did say that in the end of that segment right there that was pre-recorded that we recorded a month ago. That we are going to do more stuff like this. Like this this was just sort of the experiment of like,
Segments.
hey, pre-recording stuff, sticking it into the show. Like there's going to be a lot more when we come back in the fall.
Next year, yeah.
And I also don't know that we've accurately addressed this. We'll probably put a statement in our Discord too and on social media. But for those that don't know, our show will be going on a 9-week break in about 2 weeks.
Yeah,
So
what is it,
probably
like
should have made a more
July,
formal
early
announcement of that.
July,
The
like
Wednesday before the 4th of July.
The
July
Wednesday-
2nd or something is
Yes,
the last show.
July
Yeah.
2nd will be the last show.
I think they knew that. I'm pretty sure we've told them
I
that.
think we have. I don't know that we've made a formal.
Yeah.
It's been a while,
It's
too.
been a while. The last show of CHR for the year will be July 2nd. Don't worry, you will not miss us that
We'll
much.
still be dropping stuff.
Yes, you will get one video a week coming out on Wednesdays. We said, Raven.
Yes,
Summer
Wednesdays.
CHR, baby.
Yes,
They ain't ready.
Different CHR content throughout the summer. Last show of the year is July 2nd. First show of next season,
September 1st.
September 8th.
Oh,
September 8th.
it's my bad. Sorry.
One
Yeah.
week later. One week
Okay.
later. But you will hear more about that. We'll post it on social media. We'll share it in the Discord because I'm sure everybody here listening and watching right now is an active Discord member. So we will definitely share all that with you. And you know what? That is just a way of us saying that we really appreciate you guys for sticking with us through this whole season.
Yeah.
And
Don't leave us or we're gone.
Don't leave us. Don't leave us
We're
or
not
we're
going
gone.
anywhere. We'll be back. We'll be back. Don't
We
worry.
will be back.
Yeah.
There will be a bunch of content.
Yeah.
It'll be good stuff. It's different kind of stuff. It's some of the stuff that you guys have been asking for, some of the stuff that we came up with on our own.
Yeah. I think they're going to really like it. I really enjoyed it. We filmed some of that yesterday, actually. Should be good content. So looking forward to seeing the reactions.
Yes.
Yeah.
But next year, we got new, we got people we're bringing it. Like it's going to be a very, very fun version of what we're doing now. We're growing, we're expanding. And this is just part of it. So
They ain't ready for the sophomore season. There's not going to be a sophomore slump with CHR, man. It's going to be the breakout season.
yeah. Oh yeah. This is like Sidney Crosby's second year in the NHL.
Yeah. We're
This
going for
is
the
like-
heart next year. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Hopefully we'll come away with the call there. I don't know, but definitely the heart for sure.
And I will say once again too, because I have not said this off the rip, but please tell a friend about the show. Click like, click subscribe.
Yes.
Tell your friends to follow us on Instagram. Share our stuff on your stories, on social media. Leave a 5-star rating and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It helps us out a lot. But the big thing for us is tell a friend about this show. Like if you know hockey fans, people that love the sport, we are doing this Blackhawks thing, but we're more than that, right?
Yeah, it's NHL too. Yeah, you don't have to be a Hawks fan to like this show. Yeah.
You do not. So, where do you want to go to next? Did you want to do this little Hawks bit that we have here?
Oh yeah, nothing too crazy. It's not really stuff that we didn't know per se, but just more confirmation. Per Scott Powers, if the Hawks don't make a move for Misa, it's not a surprise moving the table there. The Hawks are leaning towards Anton Frendel. We kind of knew this, but that's just more confirmation of that. They're also weighing Denoye, Martone. I think Denoye is number 2, Martone's number 3. But those are the only 3 names I saw outside of Misa. I was shocked to not even see Hagen's name there, like in the conversation, like on the board. Like, I guess maybe he'd be the 4 guy. I don't know, but that's just kind of wild to me. Number 3, that I would think that at least be a guy that you'd be thinking about, but I guess not. I guess it seems like they've sort of made up their minds. So long way to go. Still got about 2 weeks of the draft, but not that long. Not that long. It seems like by now they've about got their board set there, and we'll see what happens. But it definitely looks like if the Hawks do stay at 3, it's probably going to be Anton Frendel. So just brace yourselves for that. Yeah.
Okay, Raven, I'm going to send you a clip on Instagram. Can you play it really quick?
Absolutely.
And it's an Anton Frendel clip from the scouting combine yesterday, courtesy of Flow Hockey, to give them credit before we play their clip.
I can't wait.
So here's what I'll say about this, because I don't really have much. We're gonna.
You're not as much of a prospect, guys.
Honestly, I feel like I am. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I probably watched a lot of tape on these guys. I know you've been watching a lot of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
But I also am not. I don't know. I'm not Stephen Ellis.
Yeah,
you know what I
that's
mean?
what-
Like,
yeah,
and
yeah.
we are gonna have Stephen Ellis
There
on
are
the
people
show.
who know more than us, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think back to the Nathan McKinnon draft, which was
everybody was thinking Seth Jones was going to go 1 that year, and I think they made the right choice there, McKinnon. Yeah.
But if you remember what happened at 3rd in that draft, many people thought that the top 3 in that draft was Nathan McKinnon, Seth Jones, Jonathan Drouin in any order. Okay, like there was even talk Drouin could go number 1.
Yep.
And then it became clear when they won the Memorial Cup that it was McKinnon and Drouin was certainly the sidekick there.
I see where you're going with this.
And and that is the draft where they picked Barkov. And they passed on Seth Jones, who is now on the team, ironically, too.
I think it worked out all right. Yeah.
So, but like when I saw that, I was like, I don't get why they just did that. And then I remember watching Barkov first play, and I was like, oh, okay,
fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see the vision.
So, can we play the Frundell clip?
Yeah.
If you could own any NHL record at the end of your career, what would it be and why?
Oh, like reach.
Have to set any record at the end of your career.
Is there a record for most Stanley Cup wins?
Yep.
Probably that.
How come?
Whatever I do, if it's a training or game, all that matters if you win or not. I hate to lose. I love to win, and I think if you have a good season and you don't reach the goal, it's not then it's not completed. The goal is what matters for me and for the team.
All right, you can cut it there.
So he's not an individual awards guy. He's more of a winning the playoffs type of guy.
I just thought it was very mature, and it's different, obviously, when we're listening to it versus watching it.
I'm a big fan of that quote, I will say.
Just look at this kid.
Yeah.
He is a big...
He's a tank.
He's a hoss.
Yeah. Hoss.
He's a hoss.
Is he a Marion Hoss?
But...
Yeah.
So, Higgins, I understand, when we had been covering, there was Higgins number one, and now there's a possibility where the Hawks have the chance to draft James Higgins at 3, and
we would have been over the moon about that not long ago. Now it's it doesn't even seem like he's in their top 3 at 3, which is crazy to me. I see the logic of Frundell. I do. I see what it can be as a complete player, 2-way player, center wing, whatever you want to put him, versatile. I get it. I really do get it. And there's been a lot of high praise about him coming from that combine. I don't know if there's a player that's gotten more praise than Frundell in terms of interviews and things like that. He definitely seems like he gets it, and I do love that. I do like that mentality a lot. Of it's more about the team, it's more about the we's and the I's. So,
is there a record for most Stanley Cup wins?
That's the right answer. That's the correct answer.
That's the perfect answer.
It really is. So I can't deny that. I'm sure that would fire Kyle up. He loves guys who give good interviews. So that's the most important thing. Yeah.
I do want to. So Elite Prospects put out just a really cool post. They polled their scouts to see who the top players were for each of the following categories of the draft. I won't go through each one, but it does things like, best straight line skater in the draft.
Oh, sure. I've looked at
best
stuff like
4-way
that.
mobility, best shot, and Anton Frundell is number 2 on the best shot of the draft.
Oh,
class.
he has a bomb. He has an absolute bomb. I could see what they're going for. It's like if you have Frundell and Bedsy on opposite flanks in the power play, with those seam passes, those who can wreak havoc. So if he could be that number 2 behind Bedard, fair enough. Take him 3. Yeah.
Best hands, best motor, best vision, highest ceiling. Okay, these are the top 5 players with the highest ceiling in the draft, according to Elite Prospects. Matthew Schaefer, Porter Martone, number 2. Roger McQueen, number 3. Misa, 4. James Higgins, 5.
And that's kind of the point that I've been making, where it's like Frundell might have a higher floor than a lot of these guys. He might be more of a quote-unquote sure thing. But I just think when you're picking number 3 in the draft, I care more about ceiling and potential star power than just, is this a reliable, solid player that we're going to be getting at number 3 in the draft. And that's where I take the risk on a guy like a Higgins or Martone because, I'm more of a ceiling than a floor guy, I guess you could say. Yeah.
Highest floor in the draft is also something they ranked. Misa 1, Schaefer 2, Caleb Denoyer 3, Jackson Smith 4, and Anton Frundell 5.
There you go.
So,
yeah. And like Denoyer was put in there too, and I guess Kyle is more of a floor guy. That's why he's leaning towards Frundell and Denoyer over Martone Higgins. I guess that's the thought there.
All right. Well, the draft is going to be a very interesting one. I am looking forward to having Stephen Ellis on the
that'll be good.
On the show
I'm looking forward to getting his takes. I think he'll probably illuminate us a little more.
There's some kid going in the draft. I think it's Ratty Murtka.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
I heard he just started playing hockey 3 years ago.
What?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's crazy.
Like, I heard that this kid just like
and
started
he's gonna
playing
go
hockey.
top 10 probably.
He just started playing hockey a few years ago. Look at his EP. It only goes back 2 years.
What?
Look at this, dude. Or no, yeah, 21, 22.
That's insane. You know, it was actually a lot like that. Lepshinov, I don't know if he was playing super long in Belarus too. So,
Yeah.
Very raw prospect. Yeah, interesting.
No, so I need to hear the story on that.
Yeah.
Of, like, when did this kid actually start playing hockey?
That's crazy. Just natural ability. Yeah, when you're
Because I
playing,
think that there was a thing with like Ed Jovanovski. I think he didn't start playing hockey until he was 14, and then was the first overall pick in the OHL draft.
must be nice.
Could you imagine like starting hockey in 2
Well, 'cause
years you're the first round
Even
pick?
for me, like I started playing hockey when I was like 6, 7. I thought that was too late because I knew friends who'd have skates on when they're like 2 or 3 years old. Like the second they could put skates on, I thought I got into it too late. And these guys are putting on skates at 14, 15 and going in the top 10 in the draft. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Okay, looking forward to having Stephen Ellis on the program with us next Wednesday. Like
That'll
I said,
be
he
a
will
good
join
one.
us.
I think
for
the chat's gonna love all the prospect talk. Wink, wink. Right?
Yes, yes, they will. Okay, let's use this. Should we hit a break? You want to segue a little bit? We don't have any. So we do answer questions every Friday. It's been a couple of weeks. I feel like we haven't gotten a ton of questions. So you know what I mean. So I don't think it's as front of mind for us. I think we might have gotten one question.
No,
here,
there's
though,
a
that we
couple in the
could read.
DMs. Yeah.
No,
Nothing this week.
Nothing.
Oh, that's too
I'm
bad.
surprised.
Yeah.
Surprised.
Well, if you guys want your Friday questions answered, you can put them in the Discord. You could DM us, and we'll get them answered for you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Here's
Got
a
one?
question we could answer. I don't know if we did answer this.
Yeah.
What might a Hawks trade package look like if they try to get Jason Robertson out of Dallas? I don't think we read this one. Lots of questions about where the team is headed this offseason.
No, I
J.
think we
Rob
answered this one.
Did we answer this one?
Yeah, we did. I recall talking about that. Yeah.
I know you guys talked about it on Wednesday or
Oh,
Monday.
if you want
but-
to talk about it, sure,
No,
go ahead. Yeah.
So, I mean, it is one of the bigger stories out here. And it's funny. I don't know if you saw like some of the bits that were going around about it, but it was like they're trying to move Jason Robertson to re-sign Mikkel Granlund. So
That makes no sense. Like that should be the other way around.
Yes.
Yeah, that should be the other way around. Yeah.
I just want to look up Jason Robertson's goal totals over his career. Like what?
I think he's been around 30 the last couple of years.
So Jason Robertson, first full season in the NHL, 17 goals. Second, 41. Third, 46. Last year he had 29. This year he had 35. I can't for the life of me understand why
That's
the
that
Dallas
guy you
Stars.
wouldn't want to lock up. Like
Yeah.
that's a core guy right there. Why would you be? I don't understand why he's even in trade talks.
He's 25 years old.
He's not even in his prime yet.
Yeah.
He's already had a 100-point season. He's been point per game the last 2 years. Like I don't get it, man. So the answer is if you can make a trade for Rob, I'd do it, but it probably costs quite a bit. But like I would at least explore it. Yeah.
You think you could get it done with
Yeah,
Porch and a first, and Porch and maybe the Leafs first, and another prospect or two.
Yeah, I don't know if that'd be if you could do it for that. I'd on a heartbeat, I'd do it. But I don't know if that'd be enough. Yeah, maybe it'd have to be Corch, Toronto first. They're not going to want a ton of draft picks. They already have quite a bit, so I feel like they're going to want more like assets. So, yeah,
They're going to want if they're going to.
Because they're
If
in
you're
win
going
now
to sell
mode.
them, yes.
So they're going to want somebody who can help them now. They're not going to really care about,
or at least sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I don't know if late round first are going to get it done. But yeah, I think a Korchinski type guy and more B tier prospects. I mean, this is Robertson. It would take quite a bit more. I think you'd have to make some sacrifices. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I think another question though that I'm going to present is another guy we've been seeing a lot of trade talks is Alexis Lafreniere of the New York Rangers, and I think that's one that I'd be all over. I know, so far in his career, I know you're not as big of a Lafreniere guy, but I always think it's more of the Rangers, man. Look at what Kakko's done in Seattle since getting freed from there. The Rangers have always been bad developing young players, and I just think I'd be willing to take the risk on a Lafreniere. I don't think it really could cost too much at this stage. The value can't be too high. He hasn't really proven himself. He's at 150-point season. I think he was in the 40 range this year. I mean, I don't think you really have to give up that much to make that trade work. Probably, obviously some draft capital and a couple of solid prospects, but I don't think you'd have to break the bank for that guy at this stage of his career. I'd take the risk on a Lafreniere. You got to do something, man. Yeah.
It depends for me what the Rangers are looking like. If the acquisition cost is the same for Robertson and Lafreniere, I will take Jason Robertson.
If it's the same.
100 days out of 100.
I don't think it is the same. I think you'd have to give up more for Robertson than Lafreniere.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me, dude? This is a guy who had a 109-point season a few years ago.
I know. I agree with you but I'm just saying that.
I know Lafreniere's a first overall pick, but he's been in the league for like 5 years now and hasn't really had a breakout year. So I don't think they can afford to break. And what was the Kakko? It can't be that much more than wherever the Kakko trade was.
Well, I think they viewed those two players very differently in New York.
Oh, yeah.
Kakko and Lafreniere.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, they do. Yeah, no, for sure. It would take more. But
I just think Dallas, like, from what I'm hearing out of Dallas, like, they're just like kind of getting rid of this guy, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't get it, man.
Where it's like, I think Jason Robertson is more crucial to the Dallas Stars' success. But I think they think he's not. And I think the Rangers might think, oh, we have Alexis Lafreniere. He's going to be this guy. And
I don't know, though. But he's seen him in so many. I mean, maybe it's just, he's been in rumors forever, though. So maybe it's just a smokescreen. I don't know. Is that really a guy you want to give up on? But they've done it with the number 2 overall pick. I don't think it'd shock me if they did. So the Rangers we're talking about. Yeah.
I've always wondered with Lafreniere about Montreal. You know, that is always a pull
in the queue, right?
for some players. Yeah, he played in the queue.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there was talks about that with like Pierre-Luc Dubois last summer that maybe Montreal might be in the mix for them before he went to Washington. So there is that. His old agent, Emily Castonguay, I want to say, was his old agent. I could be wrong. Assistant GM, still in Vancouver, I think. So that's a team that's been floated around with Lafreniere. Yeah, and I don't know. I would like to see the Hawks get him if it costs half the amount that Jason Robertson does.
Yeah. I wonder what a trade package would look like there. Yeah, that's curious. Probably, another Reichel Korch type guy and probably, late first or something. It's probably what it would take.
Okay, I mean, I guess we should talk about this now while we're on like Rangers and trading guys. So Chris Kreider moved to the Anaheim Ducks yesterday. I don't know what the official trade was. I do.
This
no,
is
I
an
do.
interesting one. Yeah, this is made official. Yeah,
A fourth round pick for this year going with Kreider to Anaheim, and prospect Carey Terrance, and a 3rd round pick going to the Rangers. I actually like Carey Terrance as a prospect. I know a lot of people are.
He's a pretty good player in that U.S. squad this year.
Yes, he was. And people are like, oh, he's under a point per game in the OHL. It's not that big of a deal, guys. There are different kinds of players in hockey. So I didn't realize. I'll start with this for this trade. I didn't realize how upset a big portion of New York Rangers fans were going to be about this.
Oh, I'm not surprised, man. He's been a Ranger for his whole career. A lot of fans love him. I know he had a rough year last year, but you can't really question that guy's leadership and what he provides to the room, not just on the ice but off the ice. So I'm not surprised that they were upset about it. Yeah.
He ranked 7th. Yeah. I was. So,
really?
Yeah. He ranked 7th in Rangers history in games played, 3rd in goals, is tied for 1st in power play goals, which is a heartbreaker. 116 power play goals, and he's 10th all-time in points. He is also New York's all-time leader in the playoffs in games played and goals, and is 3rd in points.
Wow.
That's crazy.
He's been, because that's the thing of Kreider. He was always more of a, I mean, he'd show up in the regular season, but he was always more of a playoff guy, kind of like a Sam Bennett type. So he had that 50-goal season a few years back, but even 23-24 had a really good year. But last year kind of fell off a cliff, but he wasn't alone. Kind of the whole Rangers team fell off a cliff. So don't think he was really the issue there. So that's going to be a tough loss for them in the room. But for the Ducks, definitely interesting. I mean, maybe he can get, bounce back season going, but he's not really getting any younger at this stage. And, just 22 goals, 8 assists. I don't know. Maybe Q can revive him, but we'll see what he does there. It just feels like more of a Ryan Strome type player where it's like, solid veteran, but is he going to move the needle in Anaheim? Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's going to move the needle. I don't know if Chris Kreider's going to get you from 500 to playoffs, but he has a lot of experience, man. He's been around and he's a winner. We've seen it. So
when I said I was surprised that Rangers fans were as upset as they were, I just, they didn't seem that, and I understand 2 different players, 2 different legacies. Chris Kreider's been there a really long time.
Oh, yeah. Since 11, 12? Yeah.
But, they didn't have much sympathy letting go of Jacob Trouba.
I think Kreider's giving the Rangers a little bit more, quite a bit more than Jacob Trouba has.
I agree.
I think he probably should have had the C in the head of Trouba, too. I will say that, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the Trouba C never really made sense to me. I don't know.
No, hey, man, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I just, I'm trying to think. Didn't the Rangers unload somebody else? Oh,
No, they did. I can't recall
I can't remember
Mikako,
who
but like some other veteran player.
Barclay Goodrow, they let go on
Yeah.
waivers. Remember, he declined the trade to San Jose, and so then they threw him on waivers, and San Jose picked him up. Yeah, I don't know that I love where, like, I just thought fans, and maybe they are, like, maybe they're more upset at Chris Drury, you know, and
Yeah. Just the botching of the situation.
because if you just think of like
Look,
where
what
this team
happened,
was,
dude? Like,
what
this
happened?
is a President's Trophy team a year ago.
Yeah.
Like what? Like, it's similar collapse to the Canucks, man. It's just like how do we get here? How do we get to this stage? And where do they go from here? Like, are they expecting to get back? I mean, I assume they expect to get back in the playoffs next year. You don't, bring in Mike Sullivan and all those guys if they're going to be wanting to contend. But I just don't know if this roster is going to get it done. They're going to have a lot of work to do this summer. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. Kreider's not that far removed from.
That's funny.
That is very
Daily
funny.
Faceoff still has Kreider on the Rangers, but he has a Ducks jersey on.
That's really
What's
funny.
going on there?
I don't know, man. I'm just looking at this lineup right now, though. But Artemi Panarin, Vincent Trocheck, Gabe Perreault, Brennan Othman, JT Miller, Lafreniere, Zibanejad, Cooley is.
He's a sleeper.
Yeah. It's more the,
They need a lot of guys need that bounce back seasons. Maybe like an X factor would be a Gabe Perreault type, but like we saw at the end of last year, they hardly played the guy, and just the Rangers suck at developing young players. So it's like you bring in some of these guys, and I don't think they'll be able to right the ship there. But just they've botched. Look at Lafreniere, man, they botched him. So I don't know. I'm not really convinced that Gabe Perreault is gonna move the needle there.
This defense too is.
Yeah.
Matthew Robertson, Adam Fox, Keandre Miller, who is an RFA this season.
I think they really want him gone, Rangers fans, which I don't really get it. Like,
yeah, let's trade away a 25-year-old guy with all the tools and
like that.
Awesome.
I just don't know if they. I don't get that. You don't get that either. Yeah, somebody in chat brought this up. Yeah, Trouba reuniting with Chris Kreider. That's funny.
So think of that.
Yeah,
It's Trouba, Chris Kreider, Ryan Strome is also there, and Frank Vetrano.
So this is just a Rangers retirement home.
Yep.
That's hilarious, dude.
Yeah. And the other thing about this too that I will say I did hear from 32, and we can talk about this too a little bit, is this has been out there for a couple of days, and then yesterday was the day that he finally decided to waive his no move. Right?
Okay, yeah.
But this has been something
We've been
that
waiting for this all week,
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah, Wednesday's show is basically all but confirmed. We didn't have the details or anything, but we knew it was going to happen. Yeah.
And so you have to imagine that Coach Q, and this is what Elliot Friedman, apparently Coach Q had a conversation with Chris Kreider saying, you are going to have a role here.
He's good with vets.
You
He's
know?
good with vets. He's shown it, the Hawks. So, Kreider should have, he's going to have a big role there, and especially, and there's a lot of young guys in that room, right? I think Kreider's definitely a guy they can learn from. So, I don't hate it. Again, I don't know if that's, that move that's going to get you over the hump, but it should help a little bit. Yeah. Just have a guy like that in the room.
He's also tight with Trevor Zegras, too, from what I understand.
Oh, I think that's a guy that Zegras could learn a ton from. I think Zegras still has a lot to learn. He has all the talent in the world, but just has to hone it. So I think Kreider could definitely, teach him more, what it takes to be a pro. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Anything else, or do we want to hit a break here?
Yeah, it looks like we have plenty more stuff. We'll get plenty of awards talk after the break, and we'll preview the Saturday game tomorrow. Look forward to that. Yeah.
Quick shout out. Congratulations, Gavin McKenna, on winning the CHL Player of the Year.
Shocker.
Who
could have predicted this?
I'm repping my Penn State hat because it appears that the likely destination for Gavin McKenna is to be a Penn State Nittany Lion.
What happened to MSU, Michigan State? Yeah.
I've heard that it's about 85% Penn State right now for him, and that the only other school he's considering is Michigan State.
Really?
That's the only other school. So
I think a guy like him would have quite a bit of suitors there, but I guess he's narrowed it down. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So it is going to get, and people are understanding that this is going to be a big deal. We're getting a lot of commitments here. I do want to remind everybody of something when it comes to these NCAA commitments and stuff. For Gavin McKenna, it's a little bit different, right? Because he's going into his draft -1 season.
Yeah.
There were the two kids that committed, or there was the one kid that committed to North Dakota too from, I'm forgetting, but he's also going to be a top 5 pick next year.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Like Sam Dickinson, for instance, right? The San Jose Sharks signed him to an NHL contract.
Right. Yeah.
So he can't go to the NCAA. You know what I mean?
Similar to
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
He can't go. That's always been a rule. That rule didn't change with this, in that you can't play in the NCAA under an NHL contract. So I think a lot of these commitments that we're seeing they are backup plans. You know what I mean? In case you don't sign, like Caden Lindstrom going to the Columbus Blue Jackets could sign him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But he missed the whole year. Well, you're going to sign again?
I don't think you sign him and put him in. I think
he needs
the
a year
move.
of college hockey. Yeah,
I'm just saying that is, but that could happen.
It's good to have that. It's good to have those backup plans for sure.
Like a lot of the kids in the first round of this year's draft are committing to colleges, right?
Yeah.
But Jackson Smith, I think, committed to Penn State, right? But if somebody drafts Jackson Smith and they're like, here's $100,000 signing, but you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, okay, I'll do that.
I think this is really smart for Gavin McKenna too, by the way. Like, he's done everything there is to do in junior hockey. I think for a guy like that, you don't want to get too comfortable, man. I think this is a good little experience for him, especially, to adjust to a different league, different play style, different teammates, line mates. It should prep him really well for the NHL as well. So I'm glad he's making the switch to college hockey. I think it should be good for him. You're about to tell me why I'm wrong.
No, just what if he doesn't have a good year next year?
I'm not too worried about that, but...
What if he didn't, though? You know what I mean?
Well, then there's going to be questions, right? I think he's going to do just fine.
Keaton Vierhoff, I just popped in my head. That's the kid. He's going to be a top 5 pick next year, too.
Yeah.
But so I'm thinking about that, right?
But it's a different game over there, man. It's much different from junior hockey. You're playing against men. It's a different play style. Like, there's probably going to be an adjustment period, but if guys like Celebrini and Fantilli are putting up, 60-point years, I don't think McKenna's going to have a hard time.
No, I agree. I just think... former friend of the program, or not former friend, current friend of the program, Robert Babiak. I saw a video of his where he just said, "This can help scouts' perspective of you, but it could hurt it." You know what I mean?
Point.
If you're a forget Gavin McKenna, but if you're Keaton Vierhoff, who right now is a top 5 pick in the draft next year, why wouldn't you stay with the Victoria in a comfortable situation, and sort of grow there instead of like, I'm going to North Dakota.
Yeah, now it's like you almost have a little more something to prove here, right? Where if it doesn't go well, that could hurt your draft stock, right?
Yeah.
For McKenna, I don't think it's going to be an issue, but for other guys making that same move who aren't, generational players, it could be.
It could be.
Yeah, it could be a problem. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
And it could be even for Gavin McKenna. I don't think so,
know.
but
You never know. You never know. It's a different game, but I think I'll do just fine. Yeah.
Last bit I wanted to throw out before we hit break. One of the best voices in the history of hockey is going to be riding off into the sunset here soon. Joe Bowen announced today, took to Twitter and Instagram. I'm going to read his tweet because I love Joe Bowen. Sinatra said it best, and now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled more and more. I've traveled each and every highway and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Thanks, Leafs Nation. So next season will be Joe Bowen's 44th and final season on the call in Toronto, first starting out in October 1982. So that is super cool. Holy Mackinac.
Good for him.
Seen any of those?
Yeah, I'm sorry that he never got to call a Leafs Cup, but no, good, hell of a career though. Hell of a career.
And honestly, he's in his mid 70s.
Yeah.
And I think it was last year in the playoffs, he was critical about the fans and in the arena, like the guys in the arena, the people in the arena, not outside the arena.
Oh yeah, but just pretty quiet. Yeah,
this is
there.
But his Joe Bowen is a guy who the passion has always been there.
Oh yeah, for sure, no question.
Yeah. Joe Bowen was 16 years old when the franchise last won their Stanley Cup.
His first game was at the Chicago Stadium. Wow.
Oh,
that's
really?
Pretty cool. Yeah, the old Chicago Stadium. Yeah, legendary.
That's really cool, actually.
Yeah, 43 years ago. How about that?
So shout out Joe Bowen. I hope we are all lucky enough to have careers half as illustrious as that in this game, doing what we do here in media. Okay. Break time?
Yeah, break time. Yeah, it's hot in here.
Short break. It is hot in here. We need to go stand by the air conditioning for a few minutes. Second hour of Chicago Hockey Radio on the other side of this break. Keep it here. We'll see you all soon.
Yep.
Hour 2 of Chicago Hockey Radio, Friday edition of our program. I am Tassos Kirkos, sitting alongside me, Justin Lynch, and sitting on the other side of that camera, Raven Gasser. Like I said, second hour of the program. Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final tomorrow night. We will be live streaming on this here YouTube channel. And like I said, tell a friend. Tell a friend that we're live streaming. Tell a friend that you watch this awesome show or that you stumbled across this awesome show. And like I said, off the rip of the show, we are happy to have you wherever you are watching and listening from. Okay. Connor Hellebuyck wins the Vezina.
And not just that.
Not just that. He is the NHL's MVP.
Wow. Hart Trophy winner. You don't see that often for a goaltender. I want to say the last time that happened was Carey Price. Am I right about that? I believe I am.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes, it was Carey Price about a decade ago.
2015, I recall that. Yeah, as much as as good of a season Hellebuyck, I wouldn't quite put him on that Carey Price tier because Carey Price, he won quite a few playoff series. But no, good for kind of Hellebuyck, right? That is a regular season award. And in terms of the regular season, he was absolute cinema. He was electric. On the numbers he put up this year. The Jets don't win the President's Trophy without kind of Hellebuyck in that. I mean, that's for certain. Second round playoff exit, but that's another story. But yeah, how about Hart and Vezina one season? That's wild. You don't see that very often.
It is.
Yeah, Brodeur did that a couple times, pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay, so first goalie to win consecutive Vezina trophies since Marty Brodeur did it in 2006-7 and 2007-8, and obviously, like you mentioned, first goalie to claim the Hart since Carey Price.
Yeah.
Leon finished second in voting. Kucherov finished third, and we talked about this off air yesterday before we started the stream yesterday. But Kucherov finished third in voting. He had 973 voting points. McKinnon finished fourth. Those two were separated by 1
That's
point.
crazy.
972 voting points for Nathan McKinnon. So, Hellebuyck is just the fourth goaltender in NHL's post-expansion era, beginning obviously 1967-68 to win the Hart, joining Dominic Hasek, who did it twice, Jose Theodore, and Carey Price.
That's always the funniest thing to me, that Jose Theodore Hart Trophy. And he did have a crazy year that year. I know he did, but so you got these Hall of Famers and then Theodore.
Yeah,
that's funny.
I know it is very funny.
Yeah, two Hab goalies. Yeah.
But a couple other guys. Roy Waters in 1928-29, Chuck Rayner in 49-50, Al Rollins in 53-54,
yeah,
and Jacques Plante in 61-62 are the only other netminders on the list. But obviously that was pre-expansion.
Rollins had a horrible record that year, but that Hawks team was so bad. Pretty much every game they won was because of him. Yeah,
and so he won the Hart.
Most valuable player. I don't even know if they made the playoffs that year. They were so bad. Like their record was. I could look that up. It was terrible, but he was basically their whole team. Al Rollins. Yeah.
So look, I understand that this is a tremendous accomplishment.
It is. Yeah.
It is. No, it truly is. Like the list of goaltenders who have won 3 Vezinas in their careers.
Very short. Very short.
Especially it's like Dominic Hasek, who won 6, I think. Mm-hmm. Marty Brodeur has 5 or 4, and Patrick Waugh has 3. What do you got?
I found the stat. So Al Rollins won the Hart Trophy with the Hawks in 53-54. He had a 12-47-7 record.
Whoa.
That was, I guess they were just giving the Hart Trophy to anybody back then, but he did have 5 shutouts, and yeah, he was basically the whole Hawks team, but this team was terrible. I mean, this was like the dark days of the Blackhawks right here. We just opened up the 53-54 Hawks. There's nobody here. So, that's a pretty wild stat right there. He played pretty much all the games too. Yeah.
That is absurd, actually.
Sorry to cut in there, but
no. I mean, that's relevant. That is very much relevant.
He was reverse.
What do you think he thinks about? What do you think he thinks about this?
I mean, he's won the Vezina before, so he's been there, done that there. The Hart is a little different. That's its own little category. It's hard for a non-forward to win the Hart Trophy. You don't see a lot of goalies or defensemen win that award for a reason. It tends to go to kind of whoever's up top in the Hart Ross and Lindsay discussions, right? So it's meaningful. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm sure he's, but at the same time, it's like after, you got to get it done in the playoffs. It's not just him. It's that whole Jets team. And it's like, that's kind of what's missing right there is that cup, right? And they've come up short so many times in the playoffs. So it does kind of feel like a consolation prize, I'm sure, for him. It's like, it means something. I'm sure he's, I'm pumped about it. But, I mean, how much does it really mean? I mean, I think these guys care more about winning, I would imagine. So, the actual Stanley Cup, individual awards. I mean, I'm not really sure how much he cares about that, but no, I'm sure he's psyched, but it's at the same time, I think he was a little more on the docket there for sure.
I mean, we are approaching.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like, if you want to get into the big picture, like the capital H hockey discussion, I know I'm doing things while we're streaming too. But I did hear you guys having like this like Hall of Fame discussion, right? And I do want to like point this out there. This is a take that is not original for me, but it is something that is very, very accurate when we evaluate these things.
Yeah.
When we're talking about McDavid or whoever. Okay.
The cups only mean so much. Is what you're getting to.
We're going to have to get to a point where the cups almost mean nothing. Because here's the thing, there's 32 teams.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to win the cup, man.
It's hard to win the cup.
Yeah. Look at the best player of all time. He's been there for 10 years, and he's having a hard time with it.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So when you're talking, Gretzky had 4 cups. There were 22
played
teams
in
in
some
the
loaded
NHL.
teams. Yeah, the competition wasn't a start. The competition today in the modern game is light years ahead of the 80s, 90s,
And it's also just there's more teams.
and the parity.
Yeah.
Like the salary cap has been there for 20 years. That wasn't a thing, So I mean, hell, for 25 years there are only 6 teams in the league. So yeah, a lot of those guys are gonna have the cups and stuff. So
Point being is
Yeah.
that is going to have to be.
it matters, but it's not everything. Yeah.
I think for some players it will not matter at all.
I mean,
If Connor McDavid never wins the Stanley Cup, he's still going to the Hockey Hall of Fame.
yeah, but like you tell me that's not going to affect his legacy at all.
It
That's going to be a
will.
talking point. Yeah.
It will.
Yeah.
It will. But it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that he's not a Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah, and I'd still put him up there as in the GOAT conversation too if he doesn't win a cup. Yeah.
Same with and now we're going to get to goalies here because we're talking Hellebuyck, but Henrik Lundqvist is a Hall of Famer. Roberto Luongo is a Hall of Famer. Carey Price is a Hall of Famer.
But
And frankly,
goaltenders, it's a
Connor
little
Hellebuyck's a
different.
Hall of
I think
Famer.
that there it's kind of it's your own tier there, right? For goaltenders, it's a little different from a goalie versus a player. But Hellebuyck's Hall of Famer. I mean, you win 3 Vezinas and a Hart Trophy. Yeah, there's no question about that. Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah, even if he doesn't win a cup, which I don't know if he's gonna win a cup with those Jets teams. No offense.
No.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he'll make a Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, I mean, he's made it to one conference final, 1 second round, then it's been all first round. So, and I don't know if it's going to change. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe John Potatoes will get him over the hump. Yeah.
Yes. Talks are apparently intensifying there.
Yeah, it does appear the Jets are leading the charge there. Avs number 2, and then pick or poison for number 3. But it definitely feels like it's gonna be one of those two. So we'll keep keeping track of that for sure. Yeah, the fact that somebody chat Rager Jonathan Quick never winning the Vezina is a crime. That's shocking to me. That is that's a crime. That is an absolute crime. Crow never won the Vezina, but then that's a little different. Not quite the same. Yeah. But a lot of good goalies never win it. And Hellebuyck won it 3 times. Hart Trophy, no cups. Yeah, a lot of inferior goalies have won cups, but don't have any of those other individual accolades, right? A lot of it, it's a team, man. It's a team you're on at the right time, right place, right time. Yeah.
Okay, you want to play a fun game and go through the voting for this a little bit?
Oh boy, here we go. Is this the Hart Trophy?
Yeah. So Connor Hellebuyck topped the list, obviously, 1,346 votes. He had 81 first place votes. Leon Draisaitl finished second, 1,209 points, 53 first place votes. Okay. Do you want to know who else got first place votes?
Besides Hellebuyck and
Hellebuyck, Draisaitl, Nikita Kucherov.
McKinnon and Kucherov definitely got some, right?
Yes. Kucherov got 25, and McKinnon
Pasta
actually
had
had
to
27.
get some. Pasta had to get some.
Not a first place. He
Not
got
a single one?
He got a second place, 2 fourths, and 11 fifth place.
Wow. I mean, he didn't have the best, but McDavid probably got at least one.
Nope.
Really, not one.
Nope.
Makar
did not. He is the highest rated player.
Quinn Hughes.
No. Here, I'm going to give you some. I'm going to give you some of these. Jack Eichel placed 5th. He had 2 first place votes. Cale Makar 6, 0 first place votes. Zach Werenski got 1 first place vote for the Hart.
Yeah.
Alex Ovechkin got 1 first place vote for the Hart.
Okay.
And this one's about to throw you in a loop here.
Here we go.
Captain of the Montreal Canadiens, Nick Suzuki, got 1 vote for the Hart Trophy and finished 9th in voting.
He's not the most important player in his team, I would argue. Okay, yeah. Who the hell are voting on these? Well, to be fair, I think there's a lot of Montreal writers, I'm sure, who get votes for these, so that's probably the answer there. I mean, just look at the Calder, right? So Suzuki's great, but just first place vote for the Hart. What the hell are we doing here? Whoever did that, just shouldn't be voting. That's just bias. That'd be like me picking Betsy for the Hart Trophy, which I definitely wouldn't do that, right? Yeah.
Well, so that's the thing. That's what happens, and I know, I know we're like, oh my gosh, Nick Suzuki. You know who that was? It was some guy in Montreal that has a vote. You know what I mean?
He's doing what we're doing over there. Yeah.
Yes.
yeah. He's great, but just first place Hart Trophy. No. Maybe a 5th.
Those are guys those are local journalists that have the votes that are like banging for their guys.
Maybe we'll be doing that one day. We'll be voting for these awards, right? Yeah. Help get us there, Chad, so we can get Betsy his Hart. Yeah, there we go.
I would love that.
Yes, sir, baby. Yeah.
So that was the voting for the Hart Trophy. I just thought it was kind of interesting,
Yeah.
There were some other bits. Anze Kopitar won the Lady Bing.
Has he won that before? I know he's won a few Selkies. I don't know if he's ever won the Lady Bing. I feel like I want to say he has, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, I mean, still at this stage of his career, been along for a while, and he's still cooking. He's still getting it. So great 2-way player. Gets a lot of comps to the Tazes and Barkovs of the world and the Bergerons. So that big piece of that King's core. Hard to imagine him anywhere else. So yeah, not shocking to see that. Oh, he has won it before. He's won it like 3 times. Well, there you go.
This is his 3rd time winning it. So 2016, 2023, and 2025.
And 2 Selkies in there too. A Messier.
A Mark Messier
cups.
Leadership Award.
Yeah, it's not
Have you
too
ever
shabby.
heard the Steve Dangle guys talk about the Mark Messier Award?
No, I don't think I've heard this.
Well, no, I mean, it's very funny. It's the only award in the NHL that is like named after a guy and is picked by the guy.
Yeah, and I swear that award like never really gets any reception. Like it's just like, oh yeah, so and so won the Mark Messier Award, and that's all you hear of it. You see the post that says who won it, and nobody like really says anything. It's just one of those awards. Like the King Clancy's another one. Like it's there, but nobody really talks about it. Yeah.
Do the Hawks have team awards? I'm looking here at like apparently there are LA Kings team awards that he's won a lot of. You know?
I want to say they used to, but I don't know of any in the present. The Hawks should do that. Like they should do like a Blackhawk season awards, like MVP, most popular player, you know, things like that. That'd be kind of fun actually. Maybe we'll do a CHR awards one day.
Yeah, I don't think the Blackhawks have like a team award, but
That'd
like
be kind of fun. Yeah, they should do that.
They have the Mark Bavis Memorial Award. They have the Ace Bailey Memorial Award. They have the Bill Libby Memorial Award.
Wow.
So yeah. No,
Yeah, the Hawks should do that, man. I mean, yeah, who knows if we're gonna win, you know, much awards anytime soon. So while we're in this little rebuilding phase, yeah, let's that's opportunity right there, man. Especially for the 100th season coming up. Yeah, why don't we roll out some Blackhawks awards type deal? That'd be kind of fun. Yeah.
Anze Kopitar has been the leading scorer of the Kings.
Almost every year of his career, right?
Almost every year.
I wanna
2008,
say-
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, not 17.
Not
18,
the last
19,
2 years.
20.
It's probably been Kempe the last 2 years, I'd imagine. Maybe like who? Yeah, that's crazy. Mr. Consistency. He hardly ever misses a game, and you just know what you're getting with him every year. Yeah. Player. Yeah.
Did we talk Vezina? Did you guys talk Vezina on Wednesday or no? Had that come out yet? I feel like it might have come out right after.
I think it literally came out right after.
I thought it might have
missed
too.
that one. Want to do that game with the Vezina? Yeah.
Yeah, no, yes, but it wasn't. I won't lie. I'm
That one was a little. Yeah. I mean,
there was no
less competition for that one. Yeah. I think that was unanimous. Hellebuyck. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
We can do. Yeah. The only Cale Makar. Here's my one take on the Norris this year. I'm really disappointed in NHL media for not giving more love to Zach Werenski. You're telling me.
And he was
look at
like.
this. 176 first place votes for Cale Makar and only 13 for Zach Werenski. That's kind of a joke to me, actually.
And Makar's he's already won it. And like Werenski was pretty damn close, man. And we're talking most valuable to his team. I don't think there's a defenseman that's more valuable to his team this year than Zach Werenski.
Not at all.
I mean, the Blue Jackets very nearly made the playoffs, and that he was a big reason why the year he had. And I just don't know. For a guy like that too, like I'm sure he's going to be like, is he going to have another opportunity? We'll see. I
don't know.
Yeah, that might have been his shot to win the Norris, and yeah, I think
only
Makar's
13 people voted him for like.
And he has quite a lot less to work with on that team too. And he doesn't really have a McKinnon, over there in Columbus. To I mean, no disrespect to Makar. I mean, you can't argue against Makar, but at the same time, I do think Werenski had. I'm glad he at least was second. I think you probably could have argued Quinn Hughes too. Quinn Hughes didn't really get many votes, did he? No, but he won.
Quinn
last
Hughes
year.
got 2 first round or
I'm
2
surprised
first.
he didn't get more than 2. Again, similar to I would argue, it's like if we're talking most valuable to their team, I would argue both at least this year that Quinn Hughes and Werenski were kind of ahead of Makar from that standpoint. But Makar's the best defenseman in hockey. I'm not going to argue against him winning the Norris, but I think I'm surprised Hughes and Werenski didn't get more first place votes. To be honest, like I'm surprised how clear cut it was. I know he had 92 points, but. That's just what the awards become. The Norris Trophy is just who has the most points. That's your best defenseman. It's not, that's just kind of the way it is. And it's why they should have 2 defenseman awards: best offensive, best defensive. That's the way they should do it. But, the fact that a guy like Slavin's never going the Norris Trophy is kind of a crime, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Yes. First of all, yes. So I think for me, where this voting must have come from is the goal totals.
Yeah.
He hit 30 this year.
Yeah.
And he had 92 points. But last year he had 90 points. Okay?
Yes.
Didn't win the...
Not that different.
Not that different at all. I understand he had 9 more goals, but he only had 2 more points this year. And the only other time he won the Vezina was 21-22 when he had 28 goals.
What is up with that?
So if... You're just telling me
that
the people who voted for this
scores
award,
the most goals is that's who gets it. This is basically a Maurice Rocket Richard for defensemen now. That's interesting.
I feel like we did a lot of talk about the Blue Jackets this year.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like we
for
really.
And Werenski was the guy. He was the guy. He was the driver. Yeah.
but I think we did talk a lot about it, and to me, it just feels like so many people didn't watch. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
so many people weren't watching the Blue Jackets, and I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, I sat down and watched all 82 Columbus Blue Jackets games. Look, I probably didn't even watch 15 Columbus Blue Jackets games this year, but from the little bits that I saw, like, he drove that team.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, over a point per game, 82 points, and it's only 10 away from a car. Hughes did have that injury. Yeah, that's probably why he got less votes there. But surprised it was a little closer for Werenski. Yeah,
that is the one that made me, what do you call that? Grinded my gears. Ground my gears.
Yeah, there you go.
But like I said, the only other person to get a first place vote was Quinn Hughes, who got 2. I'm trying to think if there's anybody like spicy on this list. Lane Hudson finishing 9th in
for the Norris.
For the Norris, he got 1 third place vote, 5 fourth place votes, and 22 fifth place votes.
Interesting.
Finished behind Jacob Slavin, who was 8th, and Jake Sanderson, who was 10th. Thomas Harley finishing 7th too. That's a bit high in the rankings.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, with the Haskin injury, he stepped up, right? But he's 7th.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Am I seeing votes for Bouchard in there?
Yeah, Bouchard finished 11th.
That's a definition of a points merchant there.
Then Adam Fox, then Gus Forsling, Ryan
Am
McDonough.
I seeing a vote for Brock Faber in there?
Brock Faber got 1 5th place vote.
Oh,
and
my.
honestly, so did Jacob Chikrin. And if this is an award about goal scoring amongst defensemen, the second best was Chikrin. So why did he only get 1 5th place vote? I don't know.
It's Slavin's 8th? He should be like 5th. I don't know, man. That's okay. Interesting
Yeah, and
stuff.
I didn't think Hedman had that great of a year too. I don't know.
His name is Victor Hedman. That's his. So if he gets that recognition. He's still a great defenseman, but top 5. No. He's no longer a top 5 defenseman. I don't know. Anyway,
justice for Zach Werenski, though. That is what I'm calling for. Is justice for Z.
Is that all the awards? We covered them all.
Oh, there was the
there's
first
the
team
NHL first team first team here. We got Kyle Connor. Yeah, okay.
That was the one that we
Nathan McKinnon, Kucherov, Bakar, Werenski, Hellebuyck. Yeah, even the first team is not disrespecting Werenski, right? He's there ahead of Hughes. Kyle Connor on the first team. I don't know about that one. Second team maybe. The second team is Brandon Hagel. How about that? Draisaitl, Pasternak, Hedman. Yeah, again Hedman, Quinn Hughes, and Vasilevsky. Yeah, okay. There's definitely some interesting ones there.
I think this year it was very clear who the top 3 defensemen were.
Yeah,
in the
and
league.
After that, it's a who's who. It's a who's who. Yeah. So to be fair, the number 4 guy could really be anybody. To be honest with you. Yeah, and we also have the all rookie team here. The third place Calder finisher Celebrini's there. Cutter Gaucher, Matvey Michkov, Lane Hudson, and Matejchuk and Wolf. So Matejchuk is the polar bear in Arlington, Texas. There.
I was gonna say,
but I guess after Hudson, there really wasn't a clear cut like number 2 rookie defenseman. It was kind of just a bunch of. I'm surprised Nolan Allen wasn't in the running there. I'm just kidding, but yeah, the rest of those picks.
The all rookie team. He only played 45 games in the NHL this year and had 13
about
points.
That, but yeah, maybe it should have been Nolan. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Yeah, interesting.
Wasn't Drew Hellison also?
Yeah, he probably would have made more sense than Matejchuk.
Was he a rookie this year? I can't remember.
I want to say he was. I think he had a Calder vote. So clearly Frank Nazar was snubbed here. Yeah, I'm just kidding. If he played the full season, I think he would have been in the discussion.
I think so too.
I will say. Yeah, I think he would have been right there with Will Smith. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Drew Hellison could have been on that list. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
All right, everybody.
Yeah.
What else we got? Anything else? You want to do this Atlanta story?
Atlanta Thrashers? Do they come back?
So this has been out there. We can have this discussion, especially now with Raven here too. Big news for the city of Atlanta on Thursday. Forsyth County voted to approve the concept of a $3 billion multi-use entertainment complex, with one of the possible uses being for an NHL team. This is sort of like a big step, right? Yeah. This is like a big step there.
Starts the dominoes.
Yeah. Atlanta has tried different things. Yeah. I know they moved the Braves Stadium, Raven, if I'm not wrong.
They moved from...
it's outside Atlanta,
yes,
right?
It's now in Marietta, which is about a 45-minute drive from the city.
But
Big Atlanta guy, yeah.
But I've heard that is working for the Braves.
It's working in the sense that like that was the issue with Atlanta was everything was so right next to each other in like a mile span. Like the baseball stadium, the old Superdome, I think it's State Farm Arena is what they have for basketball and stuff. So moving them out a little bit has helped. You know, now you got Mercedes-Benz downtown, and I think it's Truist Park still is in Marietta. I'm actually thinking this is good. I think Forsyth is close enough to Atlanta. It's going to be another 40 45 minutes, but if they're going off the Braves and just wanting to see how that works, I don't hate this at all.
Yeah, I think it could be a big thing. So there's apparently a couple of groups that are interested in bringing a team to Atlanta.
Yeah.
This is a group led by Vernon Krause. And yeah, I look, I think hockey is in a different place as far as like how we've learned to grow the game.
Third
like,
time
I know,
a charm for Atlanta.
but here's the thing, like I am on board with you where I don't know that it's gonna work.
Yeah.
But I do think that the NHL is more equipped to try and make it work than before. Where you know you gotta get. It's Atlanta. You got to get the rappers in the door. You got to get the other athletes in the door.
If you could get it to work in South Florida and the Carolinas, why couldn't Atlanta work? I mean, that's a burgeoning city right now, man. That's an untapped market. And I think there was passion there before too, where it's like I know it didn't work, you know, ownership market wise, but I think there was passion for teams like the Thrashers. Maybe not consistently, but I think it could work absolutely. I do hope that if they did bring back Atlanta, there was the Thrashers again. That'd be pretty fun.
Yeah.
Those
They
jerseys,
would
the
need to.
logo. Oh hell yeah! Give me that back. I miss the Thrashers.
Like even just being around the city and talking to people.
You think there's buzz?
Just like I know people still want the Thrashers there.
Yeah.
Like if they get another team name, it's going to be like whatever. But if they can get to be the Thrashers still,
Yeah,
it
'cause
is
what
going to
else
make
would
a
it be?
world of
Yeah.
difference. Everyone's going to get their old jerseys out.
Yeah.
Like that first 3 years will really set the tone.
It'll help,
but
right?
you have to do more, like, because Atlanta's. A lot of people like go to Atlanta to work. You know what I mean? Like there are a lot of people that are from Atlanta, but Atlanta's also like a Miami where like, you know, you have people coming from all over the place that are sort of like, you know, transplants or, you know, and I just think you gotta like engage with like bring the Falcons out, bring Trae Young out,
Look
like
at all the successful
bring Migos
teams
out,
there.
like bring, you know what I mean? Like
There's no
bring
reason
these
how it
guys
couldn't
out.
work there. And it's come a long way, too, in terms of reaching different demographics and points. So I see no reason why Atlanta couldn't be successful.
They should also try to model it after the United, the MLS team that was introduced while I was living there. Like, because they went from being like, oh, we got an MLS team to almost having sold out games throughout the season. So
I'm all for it. Like, I don't know if Atlanta's like the number one city on my list of like place that I expand to, but it's up there. I'd say it's probably top 5. Yeah.
Yes, that is what I would say.
yeah.
That it's top 5. It's
Yeah.
not a top even 2 city for me. You know,
Yeah.
neither is Houston. I'm out on Houston.
Oh,
I'm out. I'm out.
You're not a Houston
Nope.
guy? It's the 4th biggest city in the U.S. Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, is it a hockey city though?
Well, like if it worked for Dallas, why couldn't it work for Houston?
But Dallas has been there for 30 years.
Yeah, it has, but I mean, I guess I see
You
your
know, they had
point.
Mike
And Phoenix,
Modano
you
and-
know, like we've seen Phoenix, and it's not guaranteed just because it's a big city doesn't mean it's gonna, go off.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. They probably be places like San Diego right now, but there's already 3 teams in California. We don't need a 4th team in California. Hope I'm not giving them ideas there.
But even Canada, I understand
I
with the
I
Canadian
wish.
dollar
Yeah.
that they're not going to put another team
Sucks
in.
at Quebec. Like you love to see Quebec, but it's just not gonna happen.
But even like,
Yeah.
you know, like
I
there
know
is
you've always
worry,
been that second team in Toronto train. I know,
or
you-
even just
yeah.
like, you know, because there's a difference, right? Like I understand that, you know, I want to articulate myself the right way here with this. Because in Atlanta, there exists the possibility for people not to show up because they're not interested. You know what I'm saying? Whereas
because
in
you might
Canada,
be the number 4 there, right behind NFL. I won't
but
be
you
in
know
there,
what?
yeah.
And I want to say that, like, oh, well, you put a team in Saskatchewan and they're going to sell out every game. Well, that's true, but you also, you know, I will admit, that, there have been issues with Winnipeg and stuff that we've talked about where, the cost of living is really high in Canada. Like people are struggling.
Yeah, the dollar.
Some people can't afford to take their family afford $1,000 on a hockey game. You know what I mean?
And
One
whereas
Jets
America,
game.
there's still so much more room for growth there, right? Because you have less teams and less American NHL teams than on the other big three.
You can still get a Florida Panthers ticket for $20. You can
Yeah.
get a Chicago
The
Blackhawks ticket for
economy
$20.
is more helpful. Yeah, true, fair point. Yeah.
So
There's still a lot
I
of
get
room
it.
for growth there. Yeah.
I agree with Raven that they need to go to the Thrashers name, and color scheme, and
100%.
logo. Oh yeah,
that worked. That was not the problem. That was never the problem. So, if you already have something that works there, why veer away from it? Yeah.
And this is going to be a bad take too, but I even like the Thrashers alternate red jerseys. This one.
Oh, it's all right.
I knew it was going to be a bad take.
I mean, it's not my favorite Thrashers jersey, but it's okay.
The one that just says Thrashers across it, and it's
I
got
don't
like
think they really had a bad jersey. I mean, they definitely had some that were better than others, but I think there's a lot to work with there. Yeah.
This one was kind of cool too.
Oh,
The
I liked
99,
that
2000.
one. Yeah, actually, the latest jerseys, I don't know if those were my favorite. Like the blue ones with the
light blue.
That one, I don't know.
I like that a lot.
I prefer the red one. I think actually the away ones were sick. The white ones with those were elite.
This.
Yes.
That is a cool jersey.
Oh, if anything, I make that the home.
You know what's cool about it is the neck color too, with the. Maybe I can't even show you. But
I see. Yeah,
it's got like
that's so nice. That's so different. You don't see that a lot. Like something different than neck. Yeah.
But
I like
yes,
that.
Arizona, Atlanta.
Yeah, Arizona. Let's bring back Arizona, right? Yeah, you don't think? No.
Do you know what the development plan is called? Well, don't read it.
Oh, no.
It's called The Gathering.
The Gathering?
That is what they're calling
Sounds like
this
a book
arena.
series or a movie series. The Gathering.
The Gathering.
What is that? Okay.
So
yeah.
And apparently that guy Vernon Krause that I mentioned is going to be, or he's expected to meet with some leaders in the National Hockey League in the coming weeks too.
Okay.
So and the Forsyth, whatever, County Commission Chairman Alfred John acknowledged that this is all being done with an eye towards, like, you know what I mean? You don't want to. If you're really going to build all this, like, you can still probably make money off of it with like concerts and other events and stuff, but like you want an NHL team in there too. Like that's why you're doing this.
Yeah, I hope it's not just like the number, 4 in the agenda there. Like, so for sure. You want to make it a priority, not get lost in the shuffle. Yeah.
All right. Agreed. Any other thoughts, Justin? Anything you got?
I guess we could do a quick little preview. I know we've done a review of Game 4, a quick preview of Game 5. I can't wait. I think that live stream tomorrow is going to be great. Does it get better than Saturday Night Hockey, folks? I don't think it does. I don't think there's anything better than that. So we'll see. We'll see another extra innings game that goes the overtime. It feels like that's the meta. Good to get the series back in Edmonton too. I mean, no offense to Florida, like those games are electric too, but I think the Edmonton atmosphere is ranks a little bit higher than the Florida atmosphere. Hell, there were fans leaving that game with 20 seconds left there, so that was pretty interesting. But good to see the series back in Edmonton. Should be a great game, and would you say that whoever wins this game is probably going to take the series? Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting question. Yeah.
I don't want to put anything past Connor McDavid. And here's what I mean by that.
Yeah.
We had said earlier that it feels like we haven't seen the best of him yet.
Yeah, it's
and
coming.
imagine we don't see it tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
I think he's saving it for the very end.
Then I wouldn't.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if Edmonton loses tomorrow,
I'm not going to bet against him.
no, I think Edmonton has the greater chance of winning the series in 6 than Florida does. You get what I mean? Because
Momentum team.
if Florida
Momentum
wins
team.
tomorrow,
Yeah.
if Florida wins tomorrow and McDavid doesn't like give us at least 3 points, probably. You know,
He's going to do it.
He's
going to
do it in
Florida.
Game 6.
You think he's not going to show up in Game 7?
Yeah.
Like, 100%. That's what they lacked last year, is that Game 7 at home. I think that was a big part why they weren't able to quite complete the comeback. But this year, it's a tied-up series, man. And suddenly, if anything, it's like everybody's writing this Oilers team off, man. Everybody's writing them off after they got, that 6-1 walloping, right? But are you going to be writing them off now? I don't think so. You got 2 of the 3 hypothetical games left are in Edmonton, man, and they're a better team at home. So Cats are also really good on the road, to be fair. But I don't know, man. I think from this point on, I'm not going to bet against this Oilers team again. I haven't. I always said it always felt like Oilers in 7 to me. So I think they're going to come out on top in this one, and I think the meta is then the Cats tied up at Game 6 at home, and then Game 7 that will be Uno reverse card from last year. Yeah, not to get ahead of ourselves here, but I think I'm going Oil for Game 5. Yeah.
Yeah. my prediction's still alive here. I said Edmonton in 6, and
Really?
yeah,
6.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Me and Charlie were Meliodas, two smart, good-looking Greek guys, picking the same thing. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
And I did just get a text from a friend approximately 9 minutes ago saying, I think the Oilers win the Cup in Florida. So,
Wow. Yeah.
that's, just people are...
Yeah.
Because you asked, you're like, oh, do you think whoever wins tomorrow wins? I don't. If Florida wins tomorrow, I don't think so. If
But Oilers do,
Edmonton-
yes. Okay.
If the Oilers do, I could see it,
Yeah. I just it's a lot of it's a want, man. I just want 7 games of this series. We got it last year. I think we'll get it again. Hopefully, I think the game 7 will be this time next week, right? Friday. So more live streams to do. These live streams have been so much fun, man. So I want more of them. I want more live streams.
I do too.
Yeah.
Especially, oh my gosh, like at the end of the first period, it was like, oh, okay, Saturday's
We thought
our
it
last
was
live
over,
stream.
man. We thought it was done.
Yeah, you were bummed out. You're like, I don't want Saturday to be the last live stream.
Yeah, I know. And they took it personally, man. They took it personally. Never count out, never write off this Oilers team. Never do it. That's a mistake to do it. But the Cats could very easily respond to, right? When they're on, they're hard to beat. So anyone's game. I think it'll be very similar, close game. But I think the Oilers will have the narrow edge. And McGee's got his moment at some point, man. He's going to have it at some point. Yeah.
You must, if you're the Oilers, start tomorrow's game better.
Yeah, I don't think you can afford it. I mean, I was going to say, the comeback's always in the cards for them, but I think you got to get the crowd into it. If you can get that opening goal, you can really start to put the pressure on the Panthers and really just take over. I mean, the Panthers had a dominant win in Game 3. Who's to say the Oilers can't have a dominant win at Game 5 at home, Do what they just did. They've done it. They've done it before. Yeah, why not?
But you can't, have your back, you
You
can't
got
be
to start on time.
heels,
You got to start on time. They started the game late.
outshot 10-2 in the first.
You can't do that again.
Do that.
Yeah, they got, honestly, that's the thing that people, they kind of got lucky, man. Like the Panthers, it's like they were up 3-0 after one. It could have been way more than that.
5-6.
Yeah, honestly. So I know everybody wants to, make Skinner the scapegoat, but really I think it was that message-sending move that did it. Maybe it was Corey Perry's locker room speech. Who knows what it was? But the Oilers locked in after that first period, and I don't think they're going to look back, man. I don't think they're going to look back from here. Yeah. I think they're going to take the series lead back. Yeah.
And you made a note here in this. Makes no sense. We have a 2-day break in between Game 3 and 4 in Florida, and 1-day break in between Games 4 and 5.
Yeah, explain that one to me, man.
Well, I will, and it's 2 words: NBA Finals.
Oh.
That's the reason. You know what I mean? That's the only reason.
And
why.
obviously, it's something I would think about because I do not care about the NBA Finals. I'm sorry. I just
neither.
don't. I haven't watched a single second of NBA
Can
Finals.
I just say this though? On
I
this
don't care how
topic?
good it's been. I don't care how good.
Depends.
Yeah.
Depends. No,
I think both of these happening at the same time is just electric for sports fans.
Can I tell you something, Raven?
Go for it.
They happen at the same time every year.
Yes, but
They happen at the same time every year, brother.
are they always good matchups every year? Like this is like the first time in recent memory that
Where both of them bangers.
But both of them are great games, one after another, on alternating nights for most nights.
I would need to have each year's matchup to really determine that, because I don't know every year's NBA Finals matchup.
No, not even close.
No. So, but I agree. Yeah, but I do agree with Justin on the point of I don't like the 2 days off in between 3 and 4, and then there's only so what? Those guys got on a flight after going to overtime last night to go to Denver, to go to Edmonton to only play tomorrow night. I don't know, man.
Yeah, because everybody's talking about how far these two teams are geographically speaking, right? So that's part of the reason for the 2-day breaks. But it's you have the 2-day break while you're in the same location in Florida, and then a 1-day break when you're traveling. It's I don't know, make it make sense. But anyway, glad we got a Saturday night game. That works out well because I think this is the first weekend I just realized of hockey in a while, because I don't think the last 2 weekends we've had a Saturday or Sunday game.
Not.
So yeah, I think this is the game. This is the game of the series here, and I think it'll be electric. I don't think it's going to disappoint. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Good.
Give it to me now.
Good hockey
Yes.
still left.
Yes.
We're not on summer break yet.
Nope.
We are not.
But wait,
a couple of short
there's
weeks away.
more.
You got any plans for summer? You got any
Summer
fun plans? Raven, you got anything?
Actually, yeah, I think we're going on a little vacation in late July, I believe. A cruise and your homeland actually.
Are you really?
In Greece? Yeah, a Greek
you
cruise
actually?
over the summer. Yeah.
No way,
And
dude.
late July, early. Yeah, so that'll be fun for a couple of weeks. I'm looking forward to that.
That will
Not
actually be really
just
cool.
Greek, also a lot of Italy. I think we'll be going to the Vatican. Maybe we'll say hi to the Pope while we're there. He's a big Sox fan. I wonder if the Pope's into the Hawks now. We keep hearing about how much of a Sox Sox fan he is. But
Did you see the picture I sent you?
Yeah, we should probably post that.
We should.
But there's other sports teams in Chicago. I want to hear, is he a Bears fan? Is he a Hawks fan? Is he a Bull? Like, what else does Pope Leo indulge in? Or is he just a Sox fan? That's what I want to hear. But yeah, we'll be Rome, and that'll be fun as well. So yeah, Italy, Greek cruise over the summer. Looking forward to that. Yeah.
Raven, summer plans?
It's not really summer, but in September I'm going to both Salida, Colorado, and Catalina Island. So
Colorado, been to
very
Colorado
excited
quite a
for
bit.
both of those.
Hell of a state. Good hiking there. Yeah, mountains. Yeah, the Rockies.
Love it.
Yeah,
I'll be hitting the lake house in upstate New York, just outside Buffalo for a little bit. I'll go to Montreal for a week. My hockey team's playing there. Middle of July, I'll go to Toronto for a couple of weeks after hangout, and then I'm going to go to Florida, prep for the Latam Cup. And then it's back here to get ready for what is going to be an awesome year.
Mr. Worldwide. Man, Pitbull's
you're the
jealous.
one going to Europe.
wait, I guess you're sticking to the North America here, whereas I'm going to Europe. Just check more countries off the list, man. Yeah, just... trying to increase my culture. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of the history, too, especially Greek history, so it'd be nice to see a little bit of that, yeah.
How many countries have you been to?
Oh, boy. U.S., Canada, obviously. Mexico, the islands like the Bahamas, in the Caribbean. Let's see. And in Europe, I've been to Ireland. I've been to Hungary, Austria, Germany, Italy, Venice, but like not the other parts of Italy. That's where we're going to be seeing Croatia, Slovenia. We landed in what's that city, Istanbul, but we didn't really get to see much of it. But that's where we landed to go on that European trip. Wow. Where else have we been? Oh boy, I'm definitely missing some. Did I say Austria? Yeah, I think I said Austria, maybe. A lot of those like middle European countries, like that little area there. So. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. I probably did, but anyway, how about you?
I've been to five or six.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
Are you a golfer at all? I was going to ask.
I'm not a good golfer, but I am a golfer. I'll golf. Yeah.
I've been getting the itch to
Dude,
go out there.
I've been getting the itch too, Tassos. I can't lie.
Should we golf one day?
There was a couple years,
Let's go golf
during
one
that
day,
COVID time, and you had nothing to do. There were a couple of golf courses open. I really got into it during COVID. Like, there was a 3-year stretch, my 2020, 2022. I was like golfing quite a bit, and I was getting pretty good at it, but I kind of got away from it. And golfing's kind of one of those things where if you get away from it, then you get rusty, and then you kind of lose it. Yeah. So I got to get back into it, hit the range, hit the links, and maybe that's something we could do, like a CHR golf video over the summer.
Raven,
ooh, there's an idea. There's a summer idea.
Really
yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be electric. Actually,
that'd be cool. Let us know what you all think of that.
Yeah.
But even still, we should just go golf just to have some fun too.
Hell yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. I'm absolutely down for sure.
I got clubs here.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
All right, everybody. Don't worry. We're not going on summer break just yet. Still 2 more weeks of us. 2.5 weeks technically. Yeah. Next week,
these are gonna be busy weeks though. The rest of the cup, draft, free agent, like there's so much left here. Yeah.
We need this series to go to Game 7 because Game 7 would be
for
a week
business.
from today. For business, having content. And
like what are we gonna talk about? This series is over. Like I guess just draft, free agency stuff off season, right? So better hope this cup final extends for a week.
I'm gonna have to work my tail off getting more guests if this series was over Saturday. I mean,
it'll just be a bunch of prospect talk from this point forward. I'm sure chat's gonna love that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody enjoy your weekend. We will see all of you tomorrow on our YouTube channel live for the stream for Game 5, and then the show returns Monday morning. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Enjoy the hockey. Stanley Cup Final Game 5 tomorrow night. See you all then.